Welcome back to another episode number 117 of the so-called sports analyst. Brecken, how are you doing?
I'm living the dream, brother. How are y'all doing?
Doing good. As you could tell by this audio and the recording, if you're watching this, Josh isn't here. He's helping his sister move in. I'm not gonna get any more personal details, so he couldn't make it. So it's just going to be us two today. It's going to be a fantasy football episode. So I'm pretty excited about it. But Brecken, let me just ask you this. How good did you do in fantasy football last year?
So last year, it depends which league we're talking about. Last year was a fluke, man. I don't know what it was. I've always been top two or three in every single league, but
Yeah.
last year I guess the injury bug just really hit me, man. In my redraft, let me tell you,
Mhm,
I run this league with Josh,
mhm.
and we've been doing it for a couple of years now. And I
Okay.
was the highest scoring team, second place, like the second highest scoring team was 300 points behind me, to give you an idea. Like I was outscoring everybody like by a shit ton, right? I
Yeah.
didn't make playoffs. I didn't even make the
Mm.
playoffs, dude. I went like 6-7 or whatever, right? And no way already. And
Already.
dude, I don't know what it was. I had at one point I had Jamar Chase, um, I had Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, Aaron
Oh my
Jones when he was
goodness.
doing good. I had George Pickens, Chris Olave. Like my team was insane, and I just never really put it together. And then it was kind of the same thing with my dynasty teams, man. I had Nico Collins, BTJ, Jaden Daniels, Jamar Chase, and I made the
Mhm.
playoffs, but I was a in and out. I didn't even make it that far. I think I won maybe one playoff game. So,
Yeah.
it ended up not even really mattering. So,
Hmm. Yeah. See, I did good in every league except the dynasty, except the one that I'm in with you. It doesn't look pretty good. So
all time, dude, just the tank for Ashton Genty was
yeah,
historic.
I
It was
it
insane.
started it started in week 8. I just wrapped it up just right away. I knew that team was no good, but we have a chance of like not making the playoffs. I'll say that, but like we're gonna be fighting for a playoff spot. I'll say that.
Oh
I'm not
yeah.
gonna be too crazy, but all right,
Oh, I'm
before
for sure in the playoffs. My team's so good, bro.
no, dude, your team is you
My
have
team's
Jamar.
disgusting.
Yeah, no.
I have Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, George Pickens, Chris Olave, Tyler or Jalen Warren, and then my running
George,
backs are
don't you have
Devon
George
A.
Pickens?
Chain. Yeah. I have Devon A. Chain. Um, what's it called? K9. My quarterbacks are Jalen Hurts and T Law. Like
Hmm.
dude. If I don't make the chip, I'm at a loss. You know.
Yeah, yeah, no. You should make at least the second round, at least the second
Dude,
round for
at
sure.
least, at least.
No, but all right. Before we start, you can find Brecken on Fourth and Feast, his YouTube channel, which it's pretty interesting. You guys should go watch that right there. Find me on Twitter at underscore Alfonso03. Find us under Twitch, Discord, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube under TSCSA or the so-called sports analyst. And whether you listen to this another day or live, we appreciate it. And make sure you share this to anybody that likes sports. But all right, Brecken, it is time to start this fantasy football episode. So
Let's get
Josh and
into
I,
it.
we kind of did one last year, but it was weird because I feel like we didn't have an idea. We just started. We actually have some things to talk about here. So
Mhm.
first thing we're gonna do is who's gonna finish number one in each one of their positions here. So quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, the staple positions in fantasy football. I know some
Mhm.
some people there probably be like defense, kicker, but no, the real positions here. So
Yeah.
Brecken, I'm gonna let you start off any position you want to start off with, and who's gonna be number one at the end of the season.
I think we should always start from top to bottom. I think we should
Okay.
just quarterbacks, obviously.
Okay.
For me, my QB one, it's got to be Josh Allen. Like you can't bet against the guy. He has been QB one or two for the last 5 years straight, which is insane.
Mhm.
He's been a top two QB for the last 5 years. For the last 6 years, he's been a top three QB. So
Mhm.
nobody's even close. Even Lamar isn't producing like that. Like it's just if you're
Yeah.
gonna bet on somebody, bet on Josh Allen. Like he produces. He's gonna be QB1 in my mind. I think Mahomes can have a sneaky, insane season, But I think Mahomes doesn't have the rushing upside, which I believe is necessary in fantasy football to get that QB1 status. So I think Josh Allen is the first quarterback that should always go off the board.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I have Josh Allen too, but I was tempted. I'm not gonna lie. I was tempted to put Mahomes number one because of that MVP or how I'm predicting him to have an MVP
Mhm.
season. So honestly, I think if he has that 45 touchdowns, that's 45 touchdown range, then he's gonna be fighting for that QB1. Because say Josh Allen, let's just say 39 or 38 touchdowns and 8 to 9 rushing, eight
I
to
think
nine rushing.
that's still better because you got to think about it. Joe Burrow last year had a crazy year. Like if Mahomes does what Joe Burrow did last year, but Mahomes makes the playoffs,
Yeah,
like that's MVP season.
yeah,
And Josh Allen was still better. And
yeah,
Josh Allen statistically didn't have an insane, astronomical year. He just had a good year, and it didn't matter.
mhm.
He was still just the rushing upside is just the value on that is insane. And he catches his own touchdowns too, which
Yeah.
matters in fantasy, which is insane. You know, I didn't even go back and look, but I wonder because I know it counted as he threw himself a pass and caught a touchdown. I wonder
Yeah,
how those points ended up. Like if he got
yeah,
12 points there,
it counted
it
as
counted for
12.
both.
Yeah,
That
because
would
I
have been
remember I
sick,
had
dude.
Josh Allen. I remember I had Josh Allen in one league, and I remember it just went from he had like so much like 20 and went to like 32 or something like that.
Oh, that's busted, dude. I
So
never I never get a chance to get Josh.
so let me ask you this question. So whenever it comes to like a guy that's like right in between like the threshold of like a pocket passer and a rushing quarterback in fantasy
Mhm.
football, where do you think you draw the line? Do you think you draw it? I'm just trying to think of a quarterback like a Kyler Murray who has high rushing upside compared to Baker Mayfield, or where is it that you draw the line? Like, is it like they have to have an at least potential for 8+ touchdowns and
Mm,
500 rushing? Where do you think?
I don't know statistically where the line is, but if you're like, hey, would you rather have like a Caleb Williams in fantasy
Yeah.
who runs? He can run, he can move, he's got
Mhm.
some wheels on him, but he's mainly known for his arm. Or would you rather have a Justin Fields?
Mm.
Personally, I'd rather have Justin Fields. Like, I know
Okay.
he's not great at throwing the football. Interceptions don't really matter that much in fantasy. Neither
Yeah.
do fumbles realistically.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the guy that will run more and more and more and more. So like, if you can find a good like a between ground is kind of like where Josh Allen is, where he's still
Yeah.
slinging that rock quite a bit. Kyler Murray doesn't escape the pocket and uses that athleticism as
Mhm.
much as I wish he would back in the day. So I like to steer clear of Kyler Murray. I don't know. I don't. He's disappointed me so many times. But
Yeah, I was just trying to give like just an idea of a rushing quarterback,
mhm,
but I guess Justin Fields, that's a better comp. So,
yeah,
okay, Justin Fields or a Joe Burrow?
I would rather have a Justin Fields personally. I think I would rather have a Justin Fields, which is crazy. I get it. I get it.
Ooh,
Uh,
that's great.
Joe Joe Burrow
Woo!
definitely puts up the stats, but like
Okay.
I don't know, dude. It's just like you got to think about like the rushing upside is so great.
It's
I
king.
just
Yeah.
yeah, it's just it's the most important thing for a quarterback. Like Drake May, that's why I hold him so highly, in my
Yeah.
heart. I love Drake May. Is because he's got that rushing upside. Even though it's not like an insane volume like how Lamar and all them are,
Mhm.
he still takes off and has got that rushing upside. I don't know. I'm excited to see Justin Fields go crazy, end up being a top 5 quarterback this year. So
Ooh, okay, okay,
I mean,
okay.
look at Hurts, dude. He's always top 5
Yeah.
quarterback and shit. He don't even really run. He's just got to push
Tush
2
push, yeah,
yards, you
yeah.
know?
But
Yeah.
also
So
that's a
it is
stacked team. That's a stacked team right
that
there.
is a very stacked team. That is a very stacked team, but I mean, Justin Fields got some wheels on him, bro.
He does. He did win me a league his last year in Chicago. He was it
Yeah,
his last
bro.
year? Yeah, his last year in Chicago. Yeah, he won me one. But
Dude,
all
he'd
right.
score like 45 plus points a week. It's insane.
Yeah, I know. This dude, and I know it's different for every single league. I know there's some where like I know there's some where turnovers, it's an extra like 5
Mhm.
points gone, or like I showed you the one that I'm in, Brecken, where quarterbacks, it's like you get 10
The
points every
boosts are
25
insane.
yards. Yeah. The boosts are crazy. But still, no matter where you go, no matter what format, PPR, standard, half PPR, which don't really involve quarterback, rushing is king. So every three or the first three guys should be a rushing quarterback, in my opinion.
Always,
Maybe
always.
Mahomes, maybe Dak could crack into the top three if they have like
I
great years, Joe Burrow. But like
Yeah,
it'd have to be crazy. Like
yeah, it
what's
would
the
have to
last
be a
one?
statistically insane year. It would have to be like Drew Brees,
Like
like
Peyton
a Drew
Manning. Yeah.
Brees.
Yeah. Yeah. It would
It
have to
would
be
have to
something.
be a record-breaking year, and I feel like that's so much harder to bank on than just rushing upside. So,
Yeah. Where it's just giving points right there. All
mhm.
right. This next one right here, which this one is really interesting. Honestly, I could see 5 different answers for this one right here. Who is going to be running back 1 in fantasy football here, Brecken?
There's so many. You're right. There's so many options.
Yes.
I don't think it's going to be Saquon. I'll start off with that, and I have a
Okay.
very good reason. Every single RB1 the very next season, they have seen at least a 26% drop in their fantasy points every single
Mhm.
year. And that's been true for the last, I think it's like 13 or 14 years or something like
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
So now, granted, I believe Saquon is, on a great situation, great team, everything like that. So he could totally do it. He could totally go back to back and break the mold.
Yeah.
He's already done it so many times throughout his career. But I don't believe that he will be RB1. I have a special place in my heart for Devon A-Chain. I
Mhm.
think I'm gonna go with him as my RB1
I
just
don't
because
hate
the
it.
way that dude, the way that that offense is structured, he was the most targeted running back out of the backfield last year. I think he ended up with a year with like 80 targets,
Yeah.
maybe even 90 plus targets. It was insane. And then, Jonnu Smith is gone. And who do they have? Darren Waller? I'm sorry, bro. He's been retired.
The
You
country
know,
singer, bro.
dude, like get out of here. And teams are still going to be running too high, shell coverages
Mhm.
against Miami to keep Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle contained at least a little bit. So as long as A Chain's healthy, man, I don't see why him and Tua can cook up something insane and A Chain
Mhm.
can go for 2,000 all-purpose yards and 20 touchdowns. I could see that easily happening, especially in PPR. A
Yeah.
Chain will cook.
Yeah, in PPR, he's gonna. Well, I don't know. These guys, they really give him a run for their money. So I'm just
Mhm,
okay.
mhm.
I'm gonna list four guys that I really think have a great chance, and then I'm gonna tell you who I picked. So obviously, there's Devon Achin, Bijan Robinson, Jameer Gibbs, and oh my goodness, why did I go blank? Christian McCaffrey, and then I got, I got. I know. Christian McCaffrey. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy right there, but I think
Uh,
Christian McCaffrey could have a bounce back year as much as people they
it
want
makes
to.
sense. It makes
Yeah,
sense, dude.
they
Whenever you
want
look at it, so
you buy
I'm
on
a
the dip.
I'm a
Go ahead.
CMC Glazer. You don't understand. I I watched him play at Stanford, and I fell in love with Christian McCaffrey so much that I was trying to get into Stanford. I tested out and everything like that, and it is the hardest school to get into in the U.S. And so I love CMC,
Mhm,
and I would love to see him be RB1 again. And
mhm,
it makes sense. I mean, you got to think about all those vacated targets. Ayuk's going to be out for probably 4 plus, maybe even 6 weeks.
mhm.
Um, you got what's that older receiver that they signed? I keep on forgetting his name.
Oh, for the
Solid,
Niners?
solid. Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, why did I
Dude,
go
I'm going
blank?
blank. Number
Mm,
like 15 or something like that.
Dude, why did I go
Um,
blank?
I know, I don't know why either.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways, he's good. He's solid. And then so it's like Ricky Pearsall and nobody else. I mean, Ayuk's gone. Dude, it's actually gonna bug me so much that I can't think of this guy's name.
Fif 15. You're not talking about Jawan Jennings though.
That is who I'm talking about. Juwan
Oh,
Jennings is dealing with
yeah,
a
some
hamstring,
injury.
if
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
mistaken. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so like he's kind of expected to miss a little bit of time, and then he was also having contract issues before he got injured.
Mhm.
So it's like CMC, it makes sense. There's so many vacated targets. Him and George Kittle should cook,
Yeah.
and then Ricky Pearsall may not even come back week one
Yeah.
either. He may miss, the first 2 weeks
Yeah.
of the season. So I could
And
see CMC starting off and if you want to talk about a guy to target and then sell on the high, do those first 3-4 weeks, just have him on your team and then sell him.
yeah.
He'd be
Yeah.
going insane.
Yeah. Well, even though I stopped there at CMC, that's not going to be my running back one. That was somebody that I wanted to bring up. There's also a Bucky Irving who I think has a great shot, but I know this is an easy answer right here. Give me Jahmyr Gibbs, man. I just think Jahmyr Gibbs is just going to go
Maybe.
so crazy this year.
Ah,
And I just think it's going to end up becoming that 60-40 split with David Montgomery. It's like the gap is slowly starting to get there
mhm,
more and more
mhm,
and more.
mhm.
And he's so damn efficient. I think he has some of the best efficiency metrics for a running back since like Christian McCaffrey or something along those lines right there. And it's barely year 3 for this dude. He's only going to get better. I know people there overreacting saying, oh, well, Ben Johnson, he's gone. There's going to be a brain dump there. They still have one of the most talented rosters in the entire league, let alone the NFC. So I think even though it's the easy answer, give me Jahmyr Gibbs here. But CMC, people need to watch out. They need to watch out for CMC. They need to watch out
It's
for
his
him.
year. It's his year. He's not getting injured. He's not going to get
Yeah,
injured. No,
because
I will say Gibby, man. I think people are reading into it a little bit too much. I don't think you're wrong at all. I love Gibby, and I think
yeah,
maybe people are reading into new OC. I think like week 8 to 10, we'll all be looking back and be like, what were we
why?
thinking, dude?
Yeah,
What the hell were we thinking? Like
mhm,
this guy's generationally insane. Like
yeah,
why did we think that any of this would matter? So yeah.
yeah. Okay, now I know we didn't discuss this before, but like, what do you feel about Chase Brown this year?
Oh, dude, Chase Brown. So is
Because
he just
week after Zach Moss went down, week 8
dude?
and on, that dude
He was RB1.
he
I think
was
overall he was RB1 to end the season. He was
yeah,
insane, dude.
yeah,
So Chase Brown, I love the talent and I love the upside. I don't think he can be RB1. Like
mhm,
in my mind, he's not really like a goal line back. Um, but like you want to talk about concentrated targets. I mean, they brought in who like Tajay Brooks from
yeah,
Tech
Taj
or
Brooks,
Taj
yeah,
Brooks. Yeah,
yeah,
they brought in Taj Brooks from Tech, and he's kind of the same thing as Chase Brown. He's not really like a big bruiser
mhm,
back or nothing like that.
mhm,
So I think he can have an insane year. I think I don't know if this year will be the running back year like how it was last year. Last year it
yeah,
was like running backs were the way to go. Receivers, there were so many injuries to quarterbacks and stuff like
yeah,
that. So I don't think in general, that team's going to be throwing the ball a lot more and they're going to be, you know, targeting the receivers hopefully a lot more than their
mhm.
running back. So I think he's interesting. You should definitely draft him. He's not a guy to avoid, but I don't think he's got the RB1 upside.
And also one more thing, somebody that's been going almost in the first round in every single draft this year. This guy has had major hype. He's a rookie. We already know people they fall in love with rookie running backs here. What do you feel about Ashton Genty this year and potentially being a running back one? Because we both didn't mention him at all. We mentioned 4 or 5 different names, and we didn't mention Ashton Genty. I'll give my
I
reasons in
know.
a second, but you go ahead.
It feels like an insult because every single running back drafted as early as him has been a top 3 running back in fantasy the year that they're drafted, their rookie
Mhm.
year. You go back to like Saquon and stuff like
Zeke,
that, had an yeah, they
Fournette,
they
yeah, I
all
see
have
him. Yeah, Melvin
insane
Gordon,
years,
yeah. Mhm,
I just that O-line got better, so it makes sense. The defense got a little bit worse, so the offense is going to be on the field more often. But I don't know, dude. The Raiders just something about him. I think it's just because he's a
yeah.
Raider, if I'm being honest. I just don't think they're going to be winning very many games, so he's not going to be scoring a lot of touchdowns. And like their defense is bad enough that
Yeah,
it'll keep the offense on the field, but I think their defense is so bad that they're going to have to throw the ball a lot more than expected. But
yeah,
I could totally. I mean, in reality, I think he is going to be a top 5 running back.
yeah.
Is he going to be the 101? I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's definitely gonna be a good pick, don't get me wrong, but in my opinion, whenever you're going to the draft of the first round, you're trying to find the 101 for next year.
Mhm.
That's what you're trying to find. And no disrespect to Ashton Genty, maybe he could prove me wrong and this clip will look very terrible within the next 8 months or so. But I do not see Ashton Genty being the 101 or 102 next year. Just because, like you said, he's gonna get the volume, but they're gonna be down so much. And I just don't know how he's gonna compete with these PPR guys like the Jameer Gibbs, the Bijans, the Devon Achans.
Mhm. Mhm.
Not as far as rushing, just as far as can he keep up with them catches wise, because that's what matters. Look at what Alvin Kamara, why he was king for a while. Christian McCaffrey. So I think the last real one was Saquon last year, but he had 2,000 yards almost. So
Mhm. He
what,
had to have like
Ezekiel
an
Elliott
anomaly
before
type
that?
season.
Like
Yeah,
it
or
had to be an
Derrick
Ezekiel Elliott. Yeah. Yeah,
or
something
Derrick
like that.
Henry. Yeah,
Oh yeah, Derrick Henry too. Yeah, that's true. That's true. We didn't mention
Hall of
Derrick
Famer.
Henry either.
You know what's crazy, bro? Is I could see him going for like 1,800 again. Isn't that insane? Year
Yeah, that
30, 31, 1,800 yards. Dude, this is his first time. You know that like last season was his highest yards per carry in his whole entire career. And then on
that's
top of that,
insane.
dude, so his whole entire career, his average like yards before contact was like point 0.4, right? Like it wasn't even a full
Mhm.
yard because he was on the Titans, right?
Yeah.
Him on the Ravens, it was like 3.6 or something like that, bro,
That's
before
insane.
first contact. Just because you got to play for Lamar Jackson. The duo's insane.
No, I think it's Derrick Henry. That's one guy. It just like kind of like with like Jameer Gibbs and stuff like that. It was just overlooked right there. It was like
Oh, dude.
it's like just trying to outsmart the crowd.
Oh,
That's
100%.
Yeah. And man, I regret that. I regret that. Just seeing him every Sunday having at least a 30-yard run and 2 touchdowns, something along those
Yeah, the
lines.
stiff arm. I will say, I forgot to bring this up. I think Bijan's Robinson's biggest flaw is his stiff arm. He is the like one of the most shifty elite running backs in the NFL.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
the reason why Bijan is a little bit held back is because he doesn't have that long game, that stiff arm like how Derrick Henry does. I think if I'm not mistaken, he only had 2 rushes over 20 yards last season, which
Oh,
is
wow.
insane to say. Yeah,
That's
it's insane to
crazy.
say. It's because he doesn't really have a stiff arm in his bag. And so like if he can stiff arm somebody this year, I'd love to see that. I want to see him
Mm.
put somebody in the dirt. Because in reality, in those long runs, I don't think there's just about anybody better than Bijan in the NFL
Mhm.
than getting
Yeah.
past, those linebackers and those
Yeah.
defensive ends and D tackles and stuff. But then once you get to those safeties and those in that long speed,
Mhm.
you need that stiff arm more than you need that juke. So I want to see
Yeah.
Bijan stiff arm some guys and break off some huge runs this year.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. I just want to see Bijan get a full season worth of a running back one. Yeah, no, no, for
Actually, no,
real.
I don't. I'm a Saints fan. Fuck Bijan, dude.
The most
No,
confused Saints fan right here.
dude, I
Are
love so many players in my division. It sucks.
Oh, Baker, Mike Evans,
Yep.
who Bryce Young. Yeah,
Bryce
you're a
Young,
big Panthers. Yeah, you're
huge
big.
Bryce Young guy.
He is.
Dude.
You know what? If Bryce Young goes off this year, you'd be one of the first ones on the bandwagon.
Yep.
You'd be one of the first ones.
I
I'm not
might
gonna
become
lie.
a Panthers fan if he wins MVP.
All right, wide receiver here. So, like you were saying, a bunch of wide receivers got hurt last year. Same with quarterbacks. So, who's going to be the wide receiver one this year? I know last year's Jamar Chase triple crown. I don't know about you. I feel like it's a little overblown than the normal triple crowns that we usually see throughout history. I know there's very
Mhm.
few, but this wasn't like a
5.
Cooper Cup. Yeah,
No,
this
no,
wasn't
no,
like
no.
a Cooper Cup triple crown. So, all right.
I agree completely because of what we were just talking about, all the quarterback injuries and other wide receivers being injured. I think it is impressive that, Jamar did what he did. It is, huge accomplishment. It's not like he had a bad year. He had a freaking insane year. But
Yeah.
it's not what Tyreek Hill did. It's not what Cooper Cup did. It's not what Jerry Rice did it or especially Steve Smith, Triple Crown winner,
Yeah.
dog.
Sterling Sharp. Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's not the same year as all those guys. Sterling Sharp is debatable. I feel like
Yeah.
that's the closest one that you could
Yeah.
say his season is the closest to Jamar Chase, but
Yeah.
Steve Smith had the best Triple Crown year of anybody. I don't care what anyone
Hmm.
says. But my wide receiver one this year, it comes down to two guys, maybe three, but I'm gonna take Nico Collins. I
Oh, I
think,
love that pick. I love that
dude,
pick.
I think I love. I've been a Nico guy for a minute now. I've always loved his game, and I mean, you got to think Tank Dell's gone, Stephon Diggs is gone. I know that they brought in Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel and Christian Kirk, who I like all those players, and it's so funny. I think Jaden Higgins is what I want. Like I want him to be what Nico Collins is. So I
Yeah.
think it's a great,
Yeah, that's true.
drafting him here. Yeah, he can learn behind Nico the way that he plays, his build type. I want to see him excel in the exact same way that Nico has. Um, but I think CJ Stroud is going to have a really big bounce back year. I know that O-line depreciated a little bit. Their
Hmm.
running back core is Joe Mixon still hurt? How many weeks is he going to miss? I would love to see CJ just cook with Nico. And Nico's, I don't think there's a route that he can't run. He's so good in the middle of the field. His deep ball's great. Like I love
Hmm.
Nico, and I could see him easily being wide receiver one this year.
See, I love that pick. And also, I don't mean to expose you here, but you're messed up for trying to offer Josh Amon-Ra St. Brown and Krosky Merritt for Nico Collins the other day. Josh
Dude,
was telling
he wants him, man. I see. There's a luxury tax. He charges me extra for Devon A Chain, so I offered him, dude. I offered him Jamar Chase and like K9 for Devon A Chain, and he said no.
that's
Like
insane.
insane,
That's
insane in
insane.
Dynasty. This is in Dynasty too, and
I
he
never
said
knew you
no.
offered that. Oh my
Yeah, so I
goodness,
offered that,
Josh is
and he said
dumb.
no. Josh
No.
Josh charges a luxury tax for players that you like. I had to wait for Devon A Chain to get traded to somebody else for then me to end up trading for Devon A Chain. So I ended up getting the guy that I wanted anyway. So if he's gonna charge me a luxury tax, I'm charging him a luxury tax all day.
You know what? Now that I know that, I respect that because he called me. He's like,
Exactly.
bro. He's like, bro. He's like, I want to take this. I'm like, no, don't take that at
I
all.
I'm telling you, bro, he's a huge Amon-Ra guy, and I don't
He,
blame him. He's a great player. He should totally
yeah,
take the trade.
he's just not Nico. He's not
He should
Nico.
totally take the trade. He should totally take the trade, man.
All right, for my three wide receivers here. So I had Nico Collins in the top three. Also, I did have CD Lamb in
Mhm.
there. But
Bias.
yeah, definitely not biased at all right there.
Uh-huh.
But number one, I mentioned who it was going to be last year because he's winning Offensive Player of the Year. Puka Nakua is going to be wide receiver one next year.
I
And
am a Puka guy.
I I'm a Puka guy too. Maybe I'm a little bit more of a Puka believer. And this all is pending on Matt Stafford's health right
Mm-hmm.
here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think whenever Matt Stafford's there and when Puka was healthy, actually, he was insane. I think he was number two in wide receiver points per game whenever he was
Mm-hmm.
playing down the entire stretch. So I just think Puka Nakua, he could have this go or for 14, 15 weeks. I really think he could do this. And with Devontae Adams there, I feel like he's going to be in that flanker spot where he's going to be motioning all over the place. He's going to be that Cooper Cup type. And whenever Cooper Cup was at his peak, we knew the numbers that he was putting up. So it's a little bit bolder. It is, or not a little bit, it's a lot of bit bolder picking him over Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Nico
Mm-hmm.
Collins, CeeDee Lamb. It is, but like to be bold around here. Puka Nakua, he's my wide receiver one next year.
I I mean, I love that. I love Puka. I drafted him in several leagues last year, and it screwed me over because he got injured. But
Oh,
I love Puka, and I think even if Jimmy G has to start, in reality, I don't think it'll change that much because Puka's such a physical player. That's the
yeah,
part that scares me about Puka more than the Matthew Stafford injury is the fact
yeah.
that he is so physical. I've never seen anyone in the wide receiver position play as aggressively as he does. Like the only other guys you can think of is maybe like an Amon Ra, but he's such a smaller, compact slot guy compared to Puka that
Mhm.
like Puka's blocking like crazy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love his game in general. So I don't hate the Puka pick. I love it. But my other sleeper guy that I didn't say, as much as I hate to admit it, it could be Drake London. Now, I'm not a
Mhm.
huge Drake London guy, but if you look at the statistics, it makes
It's
sense.
there. It's
Michael
there.
Michael Penix at the end of the season did do pretty decent, and he was feeding Drake London. Drake London was the first read on 36% of Michael Penix's drop back, which is the
Mhm.
highest in the NFL by like
Yep.
14%. I think like Jamar's the next closest at like 26. Like it was
That's
insane
insane.
how many first look reads Drake London was getting. And if they just do that this year, like statistically, targets in
He's gonna
fantasy, targets,
yeah.
yeah, targets are the only thing that matter. In reality, we could talk about yards per route run, all this other stuff, but the main statistic in fantasy that matters is targets and how often he's gonna get the ball. Whether or not he's great with it doesn't really matter as long as he gets the targets.
See, I like that pick there, but like I guess I've been burned so many times from the Atlanta passing offense.
Oh, I don't blame
I'm
you. I don't blame you.
I'm so scared. I'm so scared to go back. I'm so scared to go back, but I feel like it
I
could be
hope he
another
doesn't, if I'm being
situation.
honest. I'm a Saints guy. I hope he sucks. I hope he fucking blows dick, dude. I hope Drake London is so bad. But if you look at the numbers,
It's there.
they're
It's
there.
there.
They're there.
It's
And the
there.
one thing that doesn't lie, man, is statistics. They don't lie.
Yeah. And I feel like this is gonna be another situation where it's either we're gonna be proven right, because I think nobody's really high on the Atlanta passing game offense,
Mhm. Mhm.
or it's gonna be everybody just try to outsmart the room and people who got Drake London in the second round, maybe home league's third round pick, the maybe even four turn, they're gonna be
That'd
so
be insane.
lucky. Yeah, they'd be so lucky with a Drake London. But I don't know. I feel like, okay, this is me with Drake London this year. I don't know how you feel. If he falls to me, I will take him. But I'm not gonna go 2, 3 picks up from ADP to say, give me Drake London. Like, let me stamp down Drake London. I'm not gonna take him in that two turn. I'm not gonna take
Mhm.
him there. Not 202, not 203. I'm afraid.
That's who in my redraft league, it's a 14 man. I had the 13 pick. I had the choice between Drake London, BTJ, and Devon Achane. I took
Mm,
BTJ. I took BTJ
that's
at
a
the
smart pick.
13 pick,
Mhm.
and that's because I wanted Achane on the turn. The guy took Drake London and Achane back to back. So of course, 14 on the turn took them both. So I was
Mm,
screwed. But I would have taken them.
see, that's another guy. We didn't mention BTJ. We didn't mention Malik Neighbors. We didn't
Hmm.
mention Amon-Ra St. Brown. Didn't
There's
mention
too many
Justin
mouths to
Jefferson.
feed for BTJ. And like it's so simple. So too many mouths to feed for BTJ. I think Travis Hunter is going to be playing on offense. De'Ami Brown, they paid him money, so they're
Yeah.
going to feed him the ball. I could see him having it in the same year. Wide receiver one, I
No.
don't know. I could hope,
Yeah.
but I don't think so. Jay Jettas with JJ McCarthy there, I think he's an upgrade from Sam Darnold. Call me insane. I'm a JJ Glazer, but he is still a rookie. I think to start
I hate
out,
to see it.
he's not going to be going
Mhm.
insane,
Mhm.
but JJ's still JJ. And then Amon Ra, new OC and stuff like that. We could be looking into it too much, but Amon Ra's never really been a
Yeah.
101 type of guy. He's always been like a maybe top 3, definitely top 5 type of guy. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think the earliest he's ever went was 107, 108, where it was consensus around that. I
mhm.
think that was around last year right there. And maybe Jameson Williams. But one guy you didn't mention, I feel like this guy, he's just a big wild card here. Malik Neighbors. He gets he gets catches like crazy. He has that big play potential. But it's just whenever it comes to being a wide receiver one, more often than not, you need a good to great quarterback. And
Mhm.
that's and that scares me. Well, not from drafting him, but him being 101. I don't know how you feel about Malik Neighbors.
I'm in the exact same boat. I would love to draft him in the second. Now,
Yeah.
do I want to pay what you have to pay to get him in the first?
Mhm.
Probably not. Not unless it's the very back end of that first round.
Yeah.
It's just with Malik Neighbors, you don't like. Yes, you have a guy that'll throw the ball down the field with Russ and Jameis Winston, but then it's like he's just going to do what he did last year, just going up making these insane catches, and that's just not sustainable. And then Jackson Dart, if he goes in, Jackson Dart runs the ball really well. So he's one of my stashes. I could love to see Jackson Dart go crazy, but I just don't think Jackson Dart will feed I just don't think Malik Neighbors will get high quality targets. I guess that's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, I agree with that 100% right there. And I kind of want to. You know what? I'm gonna save it for the hot takes. I'm gonna save it for the hot takes
Mhm.
here. So,
Mhm.
all right, the last position right here that we're gonna get to is tight end.
Nice.
So, Brecken, who is going to be tight end one in fantasy football?
Spoilers. I'm going off the norm. I'm not gonna pick Brock Bowers. I
Mhm.
know it's insane. It's insane.
It is.
But as I love Brock, I do love Brock. And I think he'll be top 3 for sure, obviously. But I'm gonna go with George Kittle, like I was saying earlier, with all those vacated targets. He's still not old enough yet, especially tight ends. It seems like their careers go a little bit further. So, and I think last year Brock Purdy. Now, granted, he didn't get the numbers that you were looking for or the statistics that you're looking for, right? He didn't win a whole bunch of games last year. There's a lot of injuries, all that stuff. But I think all that was good because if you watch the 49ers, Brock Purdy did play better. I think in the past he was a system guy. Last year he was using his legs a lot more, creating time and finding the open pocket. I think Brock Purdy last year just excelled into being a better quarterback personally. Now statistically was he better? No. But I think this year he will be better than he has been in the past, and I think with all those vacated volume targets, he's gonna have to target somebody. It's either CMC until his legs explode or George Kittle. So,
No, no. That's a very strong case, and I have him number 3 or not
mm,
number 3. I have him number 2 actually. So,
mm,
I have Brock Bowers. I know it's an easy answer. I know it's an easy answer, but I just think that him getting an upgrade at quarterback and actually having a real run game around him, I think that's going to just do wonders for Brock Bowers there. And Brock Bowers, just the separation he gets. And this is just, again, somebody who just, people, they just overthought what it was last year. It doesn't matter the environment. This guy can outrun a linebacker. You put a cornerback or a safety on him, he's too strong. He's too big for them. And I just think that just the team getting better around him, like you're saying, what makes it even better is the defense got worse. So they're going to be
mhm.
putting up crazy, crazy amount of targets towards Brock Bowers. I think I could easily see, or I don't know how many targets he had last year off the top of my head, but I see another
I think it was like
110 plus
110 or
target.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I could
he
see
was
another
insane.
110 plus target season and him being more efficient just due to the weapons around him now. So I
I mean, it makes total sense. You got to look. Last year, he almost broke Puka's rookie record for receptions at a tight end position, which is insane. With who AOC at quarterback? That's a politician. That's not even a quarterback, dude. Like it was insane.
no, dude.
I love Brock. Brock's what we all thought Kyle Pitts was gonna be,
Oh man, dude.
dude. What could have been?
Still holding hope in Dynasty, bro. Still still holding hope.
Send a
Not
trade,
that I
bro. I'll
have a
take
choice. No, Brecken, last year, because I remember this exactly. I remember you said you wanted Kyle Pitts and Tajay Spears, and I wanted BTJ. And I remember you're like, oh, that's a good trade, but I'm gonna hold on it. And then BTJ started going crazier and crazier as the weeks went down. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm
I
like,
was always. I
and
will
you
say
still
my
traded
my
him.
stash.
And you still
My
traded him.
but I got insane value, bro. My team. I mean, they heard my dynasty team. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that is true. But oh man, it's just something where I wish I would have just pressed the issue, like thrown in a second round pick or something like that.
Mhm.
Oh
Mhm.
man, that's just something.
What
That's
could have
something
been?
I regret right there. So, all right, to pretty much wrap up as far as this position. So, who's your number one at each position? Just go through and just briefly.
Oh shoot, I don't even remember, son. I already forgot. Running back, it was Devon A. Chain. Wide receiver was Nico Collins. Tight end was George Kittle. And quarterback was obviously Josh Allen.
Yeah, so I had something similar. Quarterback Josh Allen, Jahmyr Gibbs, running back 1, Puka Nacua, wide receiver 1, and Brock Bowers, tight end 1. But all right,
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
now time for the interesting part right here. Where again, this is just hot takes right here. Something that we're not necessarily stamping down as for sure, but just a hot take that we think could happen for the fantasy football season. So you want to go first or you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first. I've been going first quite a bit.
Okay. So I'm gonna save the the one where I did research on best for last. Dak, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens will have a Cincinnati type fantasy football year as they did last year, passing offense wise. That's my first hot take. The reason why I'm thinking that is because there is no real run game in Dallas. And I just think that the defense is honestly, I think it's a little bit shaky this year. And so I'm thinking Dak is going to have to throw for 4,500 yards and 35 plus touchdowns just to even stay in games and stay competitive. And that only benefits CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. So maybe CeeDee Lamb could threat Triple Crown. I really don't think so as far as yards wise, but George Pickens could definitely have a T. Higgins year. So it's something that I think could happen. That's a mild take right there.
You want to hear something even crazier? Is I think they have a better year than the Cincinnati Bengals had than last year. I've never really been a huge T. Higgins guy, and we all know this. I hate on T. Higgins. I hate on him. I don't know why. I've just never really liked him that much. But let me tell you about my boy George Pickens. I love George Pickens. I think he's debatably got the best hands in the NFL. The only one that I think competes is Jay Jettas. He's got better hands than Jamar Chase. He's got better hands than Nico Collins, better hands than Amon-Ra. Doesn't matter. And then whenever it comes to body control, I think he's the best in the NFL. I don't think anybody's better than him at tracking the ball while it's in the air. So I think that's such a huge upside, especially if we're just looking at fantasy-wise, not statistic-wise.
Yeah.
George Pickens is going to be the red zone guy. Like, he is going to get the targets in the red zone. I think CeeDee Lamb will still get targets, but I could easily see CeeDee Lamb having 1,750 yards with like 8 touchdowns and like 130, 140 receptions, and then George Pickens being at like 95 receptions, 1,200 yards, and like 12 touchdowns. I would love to see that. That'd be insane.
So you're thinking both guys crack over 1,200?
Yeah, I think they do. I think both of them crack 1,250. I think it's like, I love it, bro. I love it, bro. And then they're gonna move George Pickens around a lot more. They've been using him like how they use CeeDee Lamb. I can't wait, dude. Just stay in a dual wide receiver set. Just don't put anybody else in. Jalen Tolbert, stay on the bench.
Please, yes.
Yes,
Stay on the bench, please. Oh man, no
keep it
disrespect
warm.
to Jalen Tolbert, but yeah, yeah. Just be handing out those water. Handing
He
out that
should,
water.
dude. He got too much responsibility on his hands last year. He paid for, it's already paid for himself. That investment was worth. He was wide receiver 1 for a couple of weeks for the Cowboys. That's insane.
That's disgusting, bro. That don't remind me, even though it was just last year. But if both of them have over 1250, it's gonna be a fun season to watch. Well, I already think it's gonna be a fun
Cowboys
season.
are always fun to watch, dude.
Oh man, it's a soap opera for the better or worse. But so I'm guessing that was one of your hot takes right there, then too, right? Or that wasn't?
Yeah, I mean, I was just agreeing with you. I guess.
Okay, then what's your first hot take then?
This is kind of insane. I think the Carolina Panthers offense will be the best offense to invest in for fantasy this season. Call me crazy. Call me
You're
crazy.
crazy.
Dude, I love Dave Canales. Tedero McMillan, going into the draft, I was not huge on him. I think he was going up the draft boards way too high, and then he fell, and he got drafted exactly where I thought he should have been drafted, which is great. And he's such a solid, good talent. I think he is going to be like a Drake London, who we were talking about could easily be the wide receiver 1. I see that, and we've seen in these preseason games that, I mean, Ted's got some fucking hands. And Bryce Young, if he plays like how he was playing the last 5 weeks of the year, he's QB, 2-3. Like
Yeah.
Bryce Young was going insane. So I think Tedero McMillan helps a lot. This defense is great against the run. They're not great against the pass. So I think that the offense is going to stay out on the field a decent amount. And I mean, I would love to see the tight end Sanders get back in there and get some work. Chuba and Rico Dowell, both of them are good receiving backs. So I can see Carolina's offense being debatably the best offense to invest in. Just the most solid offense, in my
Hmm.
opinion.
Okay. Okay. So something where it's just you're gonna get a consistent thing on a game to game basis right there.
Yeah,
Pretty.
now do I think any of these guys are gonna go for like do I think that Chuba is gonna have 40 plus points, week in, week out? No. But do I
Mhm,
think that he'll have, 20 points every single week? Yeah, I do.
mhm. Okay. Okay. Honestly, I the last the last month and a half, you saw very good glimpses of that right there, and then getting
Mhm.
another weapon for Bryce Young. I think it just all depends on Bryce Young on how he transitions from a good back half of the year and how he starts it into this new year right here. But I like that one. I like that one right there.
The
All right.
O-line got better. I just think there's so much room for success on the offense.
I think so too. It just man, you know what? I'm buying more into that one. I'm buying more into that one right there.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. My next hot take. Emeka Ibuka will be a league winner down the stretch in the fantasy football season.
Oh, I like that. I like that take, dude. I love
So,
that take.
so Mike Evans is getting a little older. Yes, barely cracked 1,000 yards last year.
Older
Chris
shit,
Godwin.
dog shit. Overrated.
Exactly. Chris Godwin, his high ankle sprain on the same injury or the same ankle that he dislocated. This Buccaneers offense, I know Tristan Wirfs is down. He's going to be back by midseason. You have Bucky Irvin, Rashad White, you have Baker Mayfield, Kate Otten. I know there's a new OC, but this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense is top 5 minimum in the league whenever they're clicking on all cylinders, let alone top 3. You don't draft a wide receiver in the first round if you're not going to use him. And every single rookie wide receiver down the stretch has crazy games. Just look at last year. You had BTJ, you had Malik Neighbors. The year before, you had the Lad McConkeys. I go back even further. There's a CD Lambs, there's a Jamar Chases, there's everybody you can name with rookie wide receivers. And I
Don't
think
mention
this year,
Marvin Harrison.
I'm not going to mention Marvin Harrison right there. I think Emeka Ibuka, whoever drafts him, honestly, this is just me. It sounds crazy. I'm drafting him in. I'm not even trying to do this to be funny. In like the 6th, 7th round, because I'm that confident in Emeka Ibuka being a league winner this year.
I like that. I like that, dude. That's always kind of been one of my strategies. We may talk about it a little bit later. Is in these later rounds, go for these rookie wide receivers that are falling, and they're drafted in the first round for a reason. Like I kind of feel the same way about Matthew Golden. I feel like Matthew Golden could go insane, especially with Jordan Love. It seems like last year he was supposed to be an MVP, didn't have that MVP year. Now he's got a first round wide receiver and just everybody writes him off. It's like, where did that go? You know what I'm saying? So I could totally see that happening. And I love Mbuka. I think he's
Mhm.
one of the better route runners out of this draft.
Yeah, I'm glad I got him at least in one league. And I know there's going to be some people that I'm drafting with. They're going to be listening to this, and I hate it. I hate that I said it, but hey, it's free information there. It's free information there. But all right.
And then you just take Matthew Golden instead.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have to know about some of the other guys that I'm
Yeah, yeah.
stashing. But all right, Brecken, what's your other hot take?
Mm, man, do I? I got two of them.
Okay.
So first one I'm gonna say JSN potential top 5 wide receiver.
Ooh.
Call me crazy. Call me crazy. The other one I'm gonna say real quick is gonna be Brees Hall bounce back season. And it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, right? Like Justin Fields is there. Like, he's taking away targets. He's taking away the red zone. Braylon Allen looks really good. But, like, Breece Hall is debatably the best receiving back in the NFL. Like, I think Tyrone Tracy's up there and Gibby, but I think next is Bryce Hall. I think he's a dog. So I would love to see him go crazy this year, and I think he can. He has the potential for it. Granted, I mean, it seems like nothing's going in his favor, but it is. I mean, it's contract season. Like, he's got to cook, and if it's not here, it's gonna be on his next team. Like, if I'm giving advice to you guys, if you're in Dynasty League, trade for Breece Hall right now, or midway through the season if he doesn't have a great season. But I think he can end up being a top 5 receiver like we always thought. I feel like people look into the year prior a little bit way too much and go like, oh, these guys went freaking insane and these guys did really bad. So now these guys that went insane, I would look for the guy that's, the year prior, we were looking at like top, he was going in the top 2 rounds. And then all of a sudden now he's not worth nothing. I could easily see him being a top 5 running back. And then for JSN, there's so many vacated targets. Literally, their whole entire wide receiver core is gone. They don't even have a tight end anymore. Like, literally, every single one of their pass catchers is gone, besides Jake Bobo, who, I'm sorry, he runs a 5-second 40, and JSN. So it's going to be JSN cooking out there. And then Sam Darnold is a competent quarterback. I feel like it's either going to come down to, was it because KOC is a great coach that he produced in Minnesota, or was it because Sam Darnold had the bounce back? So we'll see that in Seattle, and I can see JSN going absolutely nuclear this year just because of how many targets he's going to be getting.
Man, the JSN one, that makes a lot of sense there. That does. And you can see it adding up on what he did last year when DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, whenever they kind of had their injury bug, JSN, he stepped up, first round pick, et cetera, et cetera. But Breece Hall, but Breece Hall, I know it's hot take edition, so I love
Hot
it. I
take.
do have Breece Hall on a team, so I would love for him to be a top
You
5
never
running
know.
back in fantasy football. I'd love it, but I do agree with you on the part where people do happen to overreact from the year prior, and like they just completely forget. They're just like, okay, they're just up and down, up and down. You have to kind of look at a baseline and look at what happened last year. It was just a total mess
The
last year.
Jets was insane. Like, Aaron Rodgers statistically didn't have a horrible year, but they were still. It's just the Jets last year were just such a horrible team. It kind of blows your mind.
Yeah.
And then like this year, it's Garrett Wilson and I mean who else,
That's it.
right? Like, yeah,
That's
exactly.
it.
And I said I like Justin Fields in at quarterback.
Yeah.
And maybe he's not great at checking down the ball, but hopefully he'll figure it out and check it down to Breece Hall. And I mean, we all know what he can do when he gets the ball in his hands. And then maybe having Justin Fields there will help him in the run
With
game
the
as well,
rushing,
get
that's
down the
true.
middle.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you never know.
That is true. Kind of like a lesser version of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. I said lesser, guys. I said lesser.
Thank
I
you.
didn't.
Thank you. I was
Yeah.
gonna reinforce that.
Yeah. I said lesser. I'm not saying they're going to do the same thing, but yeah. So, all right. So I have 3 left, but I'm going to put these 2 together because we already mentioned this right here. So the first one is Saquon Barkley will not be a top 5 running back in fantasy football, which we already kind of covered. But the one that I want to cover, and it's kind of leading into what my biggest hot take is going to be. Rookie running backs will dominate this year. The likes of Ashton Jeanty, Travion Henderson, RJ Harvey, Amarian Hampton, and the upsides of a Caleb Johnson and Bashal Tutin, which I know you don't like that last guy right there, but let me just talk about these main guys right here. So this has been the best running back class since the CMC, Aaron Jones, Melvin Gordon, that draft class there. Just as far as, yeah, AK too. Just as far as with combine, just as far as college production, these guys, I feel like they all went in great situations. Ashton Jeanty, we already talked about it. Travion Henderson, he's splitting with Ramondre Stevenson, but pretty much got the first team reps. RJ Harvey. We already see what Sean Payton does with running backs, especially a top 3 or top 3 round pick. Amari Hampton, first round pick. Caleb Johnson, a top 3 pick or a top. He went in the second round. Yeah. Second round pick, high draft value. So there's going to be 4 or 5 guys. I think I'm not saying they're going to be league winners here,
What
but
about
I think
Judkins,
there's.
brother?
I didn't even mention Quinshawn Judkins either. See, there's
The,
just
the,
so
the
many.
case got dropped. The case got dropped. So now
That's
that's another one.
there's a Dylan Sampson. So
Mm-hmm.
exactly, it's just proving my point. Where there's so many good running backs this year that went to great situations where they could actually thrive. That I think you're going to see 4 or 5 guys be in the top 25 as overall running backs. So, and that could be multiple running back ones right there. So that's my second hottest take of
I
that
love
one.
that. I
Yeah.
love that. My hottest take is going to be for quarterback this year.
Okay.
It's going to be for the best quarterback in last year's draft class, the Patriot himself, Drake May. Come on, baby. He's going to end up being a top 5 quarterback. That's my hot take. He's going to be top 5. He's got a veteran receiver coming in with Diggs. He's got a new OC, a completely new culture. I love everything that they're doing. I love Drake May coming in. He's got the rushing upside. To end the season last year, the last 5 games of the year, he scrambled more often than Lamar Jackson. To give you an idea, Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. Nobody touches him. But for the last 5 games of the season, Drake May created more run plays out of like structure than any other quarterback in the NFL.
Dude,
He's gonna end up being top 5, dude.
I like that. Ooh, dude. I know I keep saying that, but that one is a hot take where I think that one can really happen right there. I can really see that happening right there, especially with the improvements at offensive line, more just weapons around Drake May too. Mike Vrabel, a good coach, where there's good defense, they're gonna stay in the ball games.
And Will
Ooh,
Campbell, I mean, he was, dude, in that preseason game, he was doing
yeah,
everything he could, bro. I mean, he looked like he was dominating out there. It was insane.
man. I like that pick right there. But all right, for my hottest take right here of the fantasy football season. Kenneth Walker III will be a top 5 running back in fantasy football the following season. So, first, I know people that are hearing this, they're like, there's no way you actually said what you said. But all right, I put some research into this right here because I wanted this to be an educated hot take right here. So he was running back 12 in points per game last year in 11 total games played compared to other guys who played 15, 16, 14 games around that range. Year 4 running backs, which Kenneth Walker is in, there has been 7 running backs in their 4th year to have 22 plus points per games since 2010. That's the highest from a rookie year all the way to your 7th year, which is usually the peak for a running back. From weeks 1 to 12, he was running back 4 in points per game. And the biggest ingredient here, which I know you know a little bit about him, Clint Kubiak, the new offensive coordinator who was with the Saints and now is going to the Seattle Seahawks, which Mike McDonald wants to run the ball like crazy. And they use a zone scheme. Kenneth Walker on a zone scheme averages 4.4 yards per carry. And Clint Kubiak, as far as usage rate of a running back, so out of just one whole decimal. So obviously there's one. Christian McCaffrey is 0.36. Alvin Kamara is 0.26. Josh Jacobs is 0.27. A Clint Kubiak running back is 0.30. So this is going to be a bell cow running back for Kenneth Walker. And I know people that are going to be like, oh, well, Zach Charbonnet, he's a good handcuff to Kenneth Walker. On zone runs last year, Kenneth Walker averaged 2.2 yards per carry. So the biggest thing is that Kenneth Walker is going to stay healthy this year behind Sam Darnold, which they're going to run the ball, and Clint Kubiak is going to use Kenneth Walker in a bell cow situation and also where he likes to dump the ball off to the running back. So Kenneth Walker will be a top 5 running back next year in fantasy
I
football.
love that take. For all the takes that you love, I love this take more than any of the ones that you said that you liked of mine. Dude, I have Kenneth Walker in almost every single league that I'm in. He's one of my target guys. K9 is such a dog. I feel like for so long throughout his career, he's been a guy where it's like the stats don't tell the story. Like you need to watch him play. He is such a dog. And then you look at his stats and you're like, man, he didn't even break 1,000 yards. Or like,
Yeah.
what do you? But he is just such a great talent. I mean, I love that hot take, and I think he could cook, especially with Clint Kubiak. We've seen what he did with the Saints for the first 2 weeks of the year.
Yep. I think the more I kept
Just
writing
depends on
about
that
that,
O-line, really.
yeah. Well, that's what helps with the zone scheme there. So it's not as much as a bunch of misdirections, pull, pins, turns with the offensive line. So I think it's a perfect situation for a team that has a shaky offensive line situation. So
Beautiful. I love it.
The more I started writing that down, I'm like, dude, I love this take right here. I'm like, I think I'm about to say Kenneth Walker
in every league.
yeah. For real. Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, I'm gonna see if I can offer Brecken something for Kenneth Walker. I was so tempted in
I'm a
Dynasty.
K9 guy. I'm a
Well,
K9 guy, bro.
after I read you that take too, I'm pretty sure it's not gonna make you want to trade him away either. So,
No, of course not.
But yeah, no. All right. I think that's for sure my best hot take right there. And as crazy as it sounds, if he stays healthy, I'm the most confident in that one out of all the hot takes that I have.
I love it.
So, all right. For this last thing right here. So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and pick our numbers for our mock draft that we're going to do here. I'm going to share my screen so you could show, or so I could show you that I'm not lying about this. So, who do you want to go first in this number generator, me or you?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. I have the 6th overall pick out of a 12 team.
Of course.
And you have the 4th overall pick.
Hey, I don't mind. Actually, I feel like that's debatably the best spot to be picking from. So.
Okay. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and claim my team right here. And then, yeah, you go ahead and claim yours at the 4. But all right.
Right there.
Before we start, so when you get into a draft room, whether that's online, whether that's in person that you're drafting, is there anything that you take into it before you draft? Is there certain things that you need to note down, or what do you do before you start drafting?
So I am kind of the belief of don't have too much of a plan going in. Obviously, have an idea of the guys that you want going in, and don't reach too far on ADP. I feel like is a rule of thumb because you'll end up shooting yourself in the foot, being like, oh, again, I don't know, just Joshua Palmer last year screwed me because of that. I reached on him in so many leagues, and he ended up not performing to ADP. So I feel like it's almost BPA every single time. Maybe don't focus on needs too much, but just kind of fill it out. I feel like that should be the way that you approach these drafts is kind of fill it out and see what players are available at your spot. Because at the end of the day, in my last draft, we had Jalen Hurts going in the first round. So nobody was expecting that. And then that just screws up everything anyways. So
I'm with something of a similar belief, but I have 2 different things to take away. So I don't know how many people are I know you know these terms right here, Josh, Brecken. I'm so used to saying Josh. The 0 RB, the hero RB, the double hero RB, the robust RB. I think those are great, but you cannot go into a draft saying, I'm going to use this. You have to see whatever falls to you, and then you adjust from that point forward. But one thing I am going to mention, I believe that winning wide receivers through the flex spot is key to winning fantasy football championships or making the playoffs. And also, another thing, let me go ahead and bring up this right here. As far as bust rates in the first 2 rounds for a running back and a wide receiver, running back is 27%, and a wide receiver is only 15%. Basically meaning we know how to draft wide receivers better than we could draft running backs in the first 2 rounds. So I'm with the theory of if I'm going to draft a running back in the first 2 rounds, they need to have that high upside of being the running back 1 potentially next year. If not, I'm going to take a receiver. Or obviously there's best player available, but you get the understanding of it. So that's my main thing. Wide receivers through the flex are better than running backs too, because a running back goes down, you could pick up somebody in the waiver wire. They could be a running back 2 for many weeks. A wide receiver goes down, you're not going to replace his production. Like we just talked about before, Jalen Tolbert's not going to take the CeeDee Lamb role. There's just levels to it. So that's my biggest thing right there. But I don't know if you have anything else to start before we get into this mock draft here.
No, I think I'll just kind of yap through it as we go.
Okay.
I think that's kind of the way to run it.
Yeah. All right. I'm just gonna share my screen. I know you can see it obviously on yours, but just for the people right here. Oh wait. Okay. Let's do it. Let's start this draft right here. All right.
Let's go crazy. See, now I'm already in the position where it's like, hey, Saquon fell to me. But you were talking about this guy earlier. This is why I said the 4 spot's great, because it's like Bijan, Jettas, Chase, and then it's like maybe Saquon will go at the 4, then at the 5 spot you can get somebody else.
Yeah.
Gimme Gibby, bro. As long as you can get one of those top 5 guys, I feel like you're solid.
Yeah. And see, I think this is just perfect what I was just talking about right here. As far as if I don't see a running back in or potentially being 101, I'm going to take the next best thing right here, in which it is going to be, unironically, it's going to be CeeDee Lamb here.
No way. Over your Puka Nacua, your wide receiver 1?
over Puka Nacua. I'm just going to this right here. I know it's crazy, but all right, let's see. Oh my goodness. Derrick Henry went. Ashton Genty went. Okay. Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers, Nico Collins, Devon Achane.
Looks like you're going 0 RB.
No, actually, I'm not. I mentioned one guy that has that potential right there, and I really do like him this year. It's going to be Mr. Bucky Irving right here.
I hate him.
Of course.
And then there goes Drake London. The guy I was waiting for. I was like, no way, he fell. That's honestly insane. Because like now right here, it's like, do I want to reach on a JSN? Do I want to go with a Lad McConkey? Now he is white, which is a bad thing. That's what I was gonna say. They typically don't produce like how you'd want to. I feel like it's too early to be reaching for Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, one of these running backs.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say right now, beautiful draft so far is at the end, the 11th spot. I love seeing, Neighbors and Devon Achane. Those late rounds, if Drake London was able to fall to me here, that would have been just beautiful. I think I'm going to go double running back, which is insane because I don't usually do this.
You're going to go JT? You can go JT?
Because then I hate I think I'm gonna reach on receiver here, because it's I want to go JT, but Chase Brown is also here, and I just gotta hope that he can make it back to me.
Yeah.
If not, then in the 3rd round, if Lamar, Josh Allen falls to me, I'll go with one of those guys. Okay. So I think I'm gonna have to reach on JSN here, which I know I said I didn't want to do, but
going up against your whole strategy.
Look, the guy fell that I was just talking about. Here's Chase Brown. Take it. I got both my running backs positions set. I'm good to go.
Okay, see, so now I'm in a tricky spot right here where
exactly. Look at the decline at running back. You have the guy I was glazing earlier with Breece Hall, but that's such a stretch.
Yeah, no, that's a stretch in the 3rd round right there. So I think, see, there's a George Kittle right here. There's a T. Higgins that I really like right here. So
T. Higgins.
See, and I could potentially get a quarterback right here. I could get a Jalen Hurts. I get a Jaden Daniels. but I think I'm going to go wide receiver right here. Yeah, it's just I don't see any running back taking a
That
stab
you
on
love.
to
Yeah.
that I love at that spot right there. And like you
And it
say, yeah,
yeah,
what
no,
would
it
you say?
sets up perfect. Oh my, you just got screwed. Oh
I know,
god.
I know.
Oh my, the
Kittle,
running back
Kamara, and
stretch,
Amari and Hampton right there.
dude.
That was
Because I was
rough.
gonna say Amarion fell right in your lap, but he
Yeah,
he didn't. That is horrible.
yeah. It it definitely is tough, but you just have to play. You have to just play the draft. You have to just watch. It's
That's
very
why we were saying don't go in with a plan, man, because you
yeah.
don't know what's gonna end up
Yeah,
happening.
you don't know. And also for the people listen on audio, make sure you go to Spotify. You can see the exact mock draft board right here, so we don't have to say the exact.
And
Just a quick plug right there. Just a quick
the
plug.
people watching, look at Team 10. I mean, you want to talk about old
Bro,
school football. They went 4 straight running backs. They went Ashton Genty, Josh Jacobs, Brees
breathe
Hall,
on.
Kenneth Walker. I
I think
don't
they
hate
heard
it.
my
I don't
canine
hate
take.
it.
They heard my canine take or something, bro.
I don't hate it, dude. They got their running backs spot set and their flex spots already set.
Also, I don't know if we mentioned it's quarterback, running back. Oh, it's 3 receiver and then 2 flex. I
Mhm.
guess it changed by itself.
That's pretty standard usually
Yeah.
nowadays.
So I'm stuck in between the likes of a Devonte Adams, a Rashi Rice, of those likes. I really don't like Terry McLaurin
Mhm.
this year. I'm gonna take the guy that I think is gonna be solid this year and gonna be nice, even though he's a number 2. Give me Devonte Adams right here, and I'll gladly take it.
So you're the guy that's like, ah, why do I want to sell everything to start my own business whenever I can just work for the man for the rest of my life? I'm not. I'm not. I'm a risk taker. And I'll tell you right now, the risk that
It's
I'm
value.
taking is Rasheed Rice, baby. That you want to talk about value?
See,
Wide receiver 1. He's insane. And you get him in the 4th round. Granted, this is post legal issues getting pushed back until late
yeah,
2026. So next year he's not like facing any legal issues. His meeting with the NFL for the disciplinary actions isn't for until I think it's like late September. So
yeah.
and then they have a bye week. So if he gets a 4-game suspension, he's actually only missing 3. So
Mhm.
I like Rasheed Rice. I have him in my redraft league, and he's gonna produce this year. I'm so excited. But see now right here, I got both running backs, I got both receivers, and then you in this range, I really like a George Pickens. I
Ooh,
really like a
yeah.
Schmitty. But then it's like, do I want to go with Laporta? I'm not as high on Laporta as some guys are. You could take a Mahomes, who we were just talking about earlier, could end
Yeah.
up being, a top 3 guy. I like to
Mhm.
fade quarterback personally. I guess if that's one scheme that I like to stay behind, I like to fade quarterback. So right here, I'm stuck between Pickens and Tedero McMillan. Now, if I go with Tet, my plan later would be to get Bryce Young, but I think to spice things up, I'm going to be going with George Pickens. I was just
Okay.
blazing him earlier. He's one of my favorite receivers in the NFL.
Nope. And honestly, I like that pick right there. But I love this pick right here and this value right here. I talked high about this dude. Travion Henderson in the the middle of the 5th round. I really love this value right here. I would take him on that 4 turn wherever Chuba went right there. I really love him. And I feel like that's a nice compliment right
I
there to
think
what I have with Bucky Irving.
I think Travion Henderson is going to have a better year than James Conner, Amarion Hampton, AK, James Cook. I mean,
Tet
Josh
pick.
Jacobs. I
Yeah.
think in my opinion, he's going to have an insane year. He's just such a good receiving back. He does not fumble. Out of I think it was like 600 snaps in college, he had
Mhm.
2 fumbles. So I think he's going to steal that RB1 role come playoff time, and he's going to end up winning you a championship. And then in these preseason games, he's looked so good.
So I'm in a predicament right here, and this is where it really comes down to where I believe winning wide receivers through the flex if you do not have an ultra elite quarterback And then the tight ends, they look a little bit shaky here, which I'm still kind of thinking about Kelsey right now. Kelsey, this is good value right here, in my opinion, in the 6th round. So I'm looking at the likes of a Travis Kelsey. I'm looking at the likes of a Chris Olave, Jerry Jeudy, Calvin Ridley. Which route do I really want to go? And then there's another wide receiver that I really do like. I think just because I'm not going to reach for anybody, I'm going to look at the value that went to me. I'm taking Travis Kelsey here. It solidifies my tight end spot, and then it gives me a little bit more flexibility down the stretch, which you'll see in a second whenever it comes back to that 7-8 turn.
I guess this whole draft strategy is the difference between the guy that takes the shot and the guy that's okay with the security blanket. I mean, it's either I'm scoring the most points in my league and I'm missing the playoffs, or you're making the playoffs and you're doing solid. So I don't know, dude. I
Don't
like
do it.
looking at both of our teams, they couldn't be more different, in my opinion. like T. Higgins, Devontae Adams, Travis Kelsey, you're picking all these guys that are like super secure, and I'm going with like a JSN, Rashee Rice, Chase Brown. I don't know. I love how this is panning out. Now here's where you can get some great value. I think Calvin Ridley's a great pick here.
I like
Even
that
though
pick
I'm not a huge Calvin Ridley guy, honestly.
Mhm.
Personally, I've just never really been huge on him. Now, I think you should always take a guy in fantasy that's a part of your favorite team. So then it gives you a
You're gonna
reason to
do
watch.
it.
So I'm gonna draft my guy, Chris Olave. He
What
is
a
a Saint.
shocker.
He's the dog. I just feel like, oh, Jalen Waddle was still on the board. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, Jalen
Tip
Waddle was on the board.
101. Always realize who's still on the board. That's insane. I can't believe I missed that. See, now here's another interesting character with Judkins.
Very
Court
interesting.
case got dropped. I mean, do I want to
Yep.
go with that guy? I mean, Mark Andrews is here. If I'm being honest, I'm waiting for Kyle Pitts, baby. Do I want to go with Bo Nix? Bo Nix isn't a bad quarterback. Now, is Bo Nix the next Mac Jones? Did he just have a great year because he had a great defense and they helped and all that stuff? I don't know. I don't know. I think. Ooh. I mean, my running back position looks thin. How am I looking on quarterbacks? Is Drake May still here? He is. Brock Purdy's
You're
still
waiting for
here.
your number 5
I mean,
overall.
there's so many options. Do I
There
risk it with
is.
Judkins or do I go with Tony Pollard? I think here I am going to go with Tony Pollard. Play it a little bit more safe. You can call me crazy. I like the Judkins pick there. If I've just gone a little bit too risky with too many of my other players, I do need a little bit more security, and so I like that. I like that pick there.
See, now this is where I gave myself the flexibility where I can start taking some major stabs at some guys because I know that I'm going to have some for sure points. And now this is where you start winning the drafts here. This is where you start winning the draft. So obviously there's a solid pick in Stephon Diggs here, which I'm very tempted. I feel like I'm talking myself into it right now. But then there's a Matt Golden. Matt Golden. This is where you win the draft. You take high upside guys like a Matthew Golden, like another guy that I'm pretty sure is going to fall to me. Let me see. Hold on. Wait. Let me move this dang draft board. Where is that?
Oh, there goes David Njoku. He's the guy I was kind of keeping an eye on.
Okay. See, so now this is where you take the stabs right here, right? And this is where, I don't know if you can see my screen right here. Wait, no way he got taken.
Quarterback?
No. Nope. Oh, no, not quarterback. That's why. I was like, wait, no way he got drafted. There it is. Finally, you take your 2 stabs at your young guys.
Mbuka and Matthew Golden. What the fuck?
No,
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
This is where you need one guy to pop off alongside your CeeDee Lamb, your T. Higgins, your Devontae Adams. You need that one right there. And you still have Travion, who you don't know how exactly he's gonna pan out, but if he pans out, this is looking like a great team right
Hmm.
here,
Hmm.
in my opinion. I love my team so far.
I am finally picking something else than receiver and running back. I'm going with tight end Tyler Warren.
I
I
like that
think
pick. I
he
like
can end
that
up
pick.
being great. I think he can end up being like throwing passes, rushing for touchdowns. Now, the reason why I went with Tyler Warren there was because I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to get him here. Because
Mhm.
here I could take a Slicky Ricky, who I know I was glazing earlier. I could take a Brock Purdy. Now, this is where I'll look at the board
Don't
and be
do it.
like, okay, who's all got a quarterback? I mean, it seems like every single team but Alfonso's team and Team 10 that drafted 4 running backs back to back to back to back. So it's like, do I take a Brock Purdy here? There's still, I mean, ADP says Kyler should go first, Justin Herbert. I think quarterback tends to slip a little bit. I'm going to go Slicky Ricky and then pray that Brock Purdy makes it to me on the turn. Now, I think Alfonso will draft him here just to spite me.
See, I was gonna do it on purpose, but just for the sake of this, just to have my stack, I'm gonna go with Dak Prescott here, just to secure
Mm,
my stack with CeeDee Lamb and
I love
Dak
that.
Prescott. And for people who don't know about stacking, stacking will win you championships. It will win you championships. Oh, Brock Purdy went.
No!
He went. All right.
I
All
will
right.
say
So
this happens to me so often where I'm like, should I take a quarterback here? It feels like a little bit of a reach. So I'm going to take the guy that I want a little bit more. And then all of a sudden, I mean, 5 quarterbacks just went right there. That was insane. Within a round, 5 quarterbacks went.
I'm thinking about all these different guys right here. There's a Darnell Mooney. I also did see a Jadon Blue. That definitely has me interested right there. I could secure my tight end since I took a tight end a little bit later, but I'm gonna wait just a little bit on that. And I know there's Javonte Williams. I know there's Javonte Williams right there. There's a solid guy. But this, again, later rounds, this is where I take the stabs right here. At least me. Give me Jadon Blue right here in the hopes that
I don't hate it.
he becomes a PPR guy and another stack to Dak Prescott. Honestly, this is
Now,
the most Cowboys I've drafted like in just any draft
it's
in general.
insane. You
Yeah.
know what's funny is right now I'm looking at Kyle Pitts. You can hate
you
me.
got
I'm looking at Kyle Pitts.
you have
I've got
to.
an eye on him.
He's
Now,
staring at you.
I do have 3 running backs, but I could go with the J.K. Dobbins and get somebody that I know will produce a little bit to begin the year, just in case of injury or something like that. I'm not going to go that route. I could go Caleb Williams to, make everybody else happy. Darnell
Mm.
Mooney, I'm not huge on. I think last year was a little bit of a fluke, even though I think he's still a great player. I think I'm gonna reach on my guy, Drake May.
I was about to say, I'm like, it has to be Drake May.
I'm just gonna reach on
I
him.
had
I
a
know I
feeling.
just said try not to reach too much, but seeing this guy's drafting a kicker already. Look at that. That guy doesn't know what
Oh
he's
man.
doing.
Oh man, please, whatever y'all do not draft a kicker in defense early. Please
Oh,
wait the
wait,
last 2 rounds.
wait. And so right here, I'm also taking some stabs at some guys. Like
Yeah,
there's a Tajay Spears here. I'm
I
gonna
like that one.
go with a Trey Harris. I think he could end up being really good and really complimentary to Lad out there.
You took my guy, but it's cool or whatever. But
Hate me.
see, I'm looking. See, as crazy as it sounds, I'm looking at another rookie wide receiver right here. I'm looking at another one, but around this time, this is where I take a rookie wide receiver stab, another one, or I go with the handcuff.
He's going with Luther Burton.
I'm not. I think
You're
he's
a
going to
Luther
fall.
guy. You're a
I
Luther
am.
guy.
I am a big Luther guy. You're not gonna you're not gonna gaslight me into that. Give me a Trey Benson right here. I love the value of Trey Benson right here. I know
I
there's
like Trey.
Isaac Garendo, but I don't know how healthy he's gonna be.
Hmm.
So
My thing with Trey Benson is like I like the fact that it's like James Conner. Trey Benson's like a good talent, I don't
Mhm.
think he's like an athletic freak, which I think is such
Yeah.
a huge downside. Oh, look, there goes Luther Burden.
This is smash pick Luther Burden right here.
Now it could go Kyle Will. I think I am gonna go Kyle Williams here to team
I
him
like
up
that.
with my boy Drakey
Mhm,
Poo. But
mhm.
there is like a Tajay Spears. I do need another running back.
Yeah.
But then I would have the Titans backfield.
You would have the Titans backfield.
I feel like that's
I don't know if
not what
that's a
you
good or
should be
bad thing, but
doing.
you'd have the backfield.
Okay, listen, hear me out. I'm taking Tajay Spears here, planning on trading one of these guys. That's like I'm drafting this guy being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna end up trading him. I could package him
Mhm.
with somebody else. And then right
Okay.
here, I was talking about him earlier. Kyle Williams, team him up with his quarterback so you can get that
Mhm.
stack. Kyle Williams is I mean, he looks really good in mini camps and stuff like that. So I would love to see him produce out here.
Hmm. See, this is where I'm thinking right here. Obviously, a backup quarterback is it's not really a. I feel like the later you draft your starting quarterback, the more or the sooner you're going to have to take a quarterback. And same with tight end. I'm with the belief of that. But oh man, I'm torn right here. I
Justin Fields got picked 2 picks before me.
see. There's a Bryce Young. There's a Michael Penix. There's Trevor Lawrence, Cam Ward, JJ McCarthy.
See,
At
I feel like at this point, so if Justin Fields fell to me right there, right? Like let's use
yeah,
that as an example. I
yeah,
think that's whenever you would take your Justin Fields. Maybe in your
yeah,
earlier rounds, you take a Dak Prescott or a
yeah.
Jared Goff or something or
You
Brock
pick somebody
Purdy,
more secure. Yeah.
and then in the later round, go with Justin Fields because I think he can end up being great.
See, I'm gonna pick somebody. I'm stuck between Cam Ward and T Law right here.
Hmm.
And I already have Dak, who I think is going to be solid. Again, this is just another stab right here. Give me Cam Ward because there's some rushing upside, rushing touchdown
Hmm.
upside. So I'm going to
Hmm.
take him with my second to last pick. But obviously, this is excluding like kickers and defense.
I will say with Cam Ward, his defense is very good. I think that they're one of the more underrated defenses in the NFL. And then on top of that, his OC, I feel like with rookie quarterbacks, or just young quarterbacks in general, the most important thing is their offensive coordinator and who he is. I mean, look
Yeah.
back to Sammy Sosa. He ended up being a top 10 quarterback, and Sam Howell's not good. Like, if we're being honest,
Mhm.
he's not good, but he produced in fantasy and he threw for a lot of yards because of his OC. And I think the exact same thing can happen with Cam Ward and with them running a Bengals style offense.
Honestly, I, I like that take right there. It's just a matter of I just don't know how the offensive line is really going to hold up. Oh, by the way, I took Bashal too. I took another stab at
I'm
running
taking a
back.
stab right here too
Oh,
at
I
running
like the
back. I'm
Ray
taking the
Davis.
better stab. I'm taking Ray Davis. I think James Cook. I didn't hate him last year. I thought he was a great draft pick. I ended up drafting him in a lot of leagues, and he was good
Mhm.
because his touchdown ratio was absolutely berserk.
Yeah.
But I don't think he does that again. And I mean, Ray Davis, when he's on the field, he is extremely explosive. So I think they
Yeah,
just
what did he
keep on
have?
feeding him.
18 touchdowns last year? What was it?
Yeah, it was insane. And I don't think and then that's also on like 180 attempts. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
even that many
The
touches. But
the
it seems like
efficiency
he
was
may,
insane.
if James Cook gets paid, I guess maybe we're talking about this in a different look. So,
Wait,
are we drafting defense and kicker here?
see, I'm just drafting them to close it out so it could be like a
Hmm. Hmm.
professional, like how people should draft at the very end.
Hmm.
That's how I'm doing it.
Okay. I think the best defense to take this year is the New York Giants. And the
Ooh.
reason being is because that front seven is the best in the NFL. Now, you do have to worry about the DBs not being great, but I think the best value defense that you can get, I mean, like Houston was still here. I think that defensive line is great as well. And those DBs are probably even better.
Yeah.
But budget pick is the Giants. I have the Giants as my sleeper team just because of how great that front seven is going to be.
Yeah. See, I'm trying to think between two separate defenses right here. There's Seattle's defense where it's hit or miss on a week to week basis. They can have heavy turnovers. But
I'm not going
usually
there.
how I played is who has the best week one matchup. I'd stream
Hmm.
defenses if I had to, but just for
I
this
don't hate
sake,
that.
just for this sake, I'm just gonna take the Seattle Seahawks defense right here.
I usually end up streaming running back, or sorry, not running back, defensive and kickers. I just love streaming them. I
Yeah,
mean, it's kind of the way to go. I mean,
like
even
there's
here in the
no
last
point.
round, like
Yeah,
Leggett, Braylon Allen, these are there's some decent players, surprisingly.
Kaimi Fairbairn, that's a value pick right there.
hmm
Scores like
hmm
crazy for the Texans.
I will
No, but yeah,
say
no. Go ahead.
my daddy, Chris Boswell, went in round 11. He scored
He
me a
went around
lot of
11.
fantasy points.
Oh my
He
goodness.
he scored me a lot. I mean, look, I think he was kicker one, but I think if there was like a stat where it's like if he was a quarterback, he would have been like QB 13 or something like that. It was insane.
That's insane. What the?
No,
That's
like
crazy. That
dude,
is insane.
you got to think he was kicking 5, 6 field goals a game for like 3 games in a row. It was insane. But here, I'm gonna go with a fun pick with Cam Little. He just hit a 70-yarder.
Hey,
So
that is he
and there
hasn't
goes
missed a
Bryce
kick.
Young. There goes Bryce Young in the very last round. So fade
Mhm.
quarterback until the very last round. There's your tip.
So, just real quick on kickers and defenses. You guys don't need to draft a kicker and a defense early. And the main reason is that you're going to end up dropping that defense or dropping that kicker due
hmm
to a matchup or something happening.
Bye
And
week,
say,
anything like that.
or say for instance, what was the earliest defense drafted? It was the Broncos defense. And that was
Now
still
they are
around.
good.
Yeah, they're good, but
The Eagles were
I
the first, technically.
oh wait, where? Oh, okay, it's going that way.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
was
yeah.
still Caleb Williams, Najee Harris, Darnell Mooney, Rashichi, Tanks Bisbee, Tajay Spears, Luther Burden. Those are guys that could really contribute to a fantasy football team compared to you wasting a pick
hmm
on a defense, which what they'll give you a solid 10 to 15 points, which that won't do you much.
At the most, we're talking. And then defenses can also give you negative points. You
Yeah.
never know. Maybe, I mean, there's so many injuries and stuff in the NFL. I feel like going with like a Tajay Spears here is so much more important because, if Tony Pollard gets hurt, Tajay Spears is like debatably a top 10 running back. Like
Mhm.
he's got the physical talent. It's just Tony Pollard is also really good. So they
Yeah.
kind of feed off of each other. So if Tony Pollard goes down, all of a sudden you have a guy that's top 15, maybe top 10 whenever this guy's drafting a defense a
Yep.
whole round earlier. Then
Yep.
that defense on bye week you're dropping. Whenever they play against the Bills, you're dropping Washington, the Ravens. You're going to drop that defense or switch them out for somebody else. And you're not really going to be able to trade away defenses.
Yeah,
So
exactly. That's a perfect way to put it right there. But Brecken, go ahead and list your team out for the audio listeners right here so they could see how good this team is.
gotcha. So I'm going to go roster view. I'm going from top to
Okay.
bottom. Some
Okay.
of this may switch up. So I got Drake May at quarterback, my Pookie Bear. Love that guy, right? Gonna end up being better than Caleb Williams. And then I got Gibby. I took him with my first round pick, my 104. And then I got Chase Brown, great receiving back. JSN, we talked about the volume. Volume is king. Rasheed Rice, if he returns, and it looks like he is playing like he's doing very
Yeah.
well throughout camp. And I mean, he's moving very well. If he just returns back to being, wide receiver one before his quarterback blew out his knee, he's going to end up being great. But he's a risky play. So what did I do? I got
Yeah.
George Pickens, a guy that I said will have 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. Great player. Tyler Warren, a little bit of a risk at tight end, but tight end is one of the less valuable positions.
Mhm.
You can go a little bit risky if you're not getting, Brock Purdy, Trey McBride, George Kittle. Yeah, kind of just gotta fade it. The drop off from the top three guys is insane.
Yeah.
And then I went with Chris Olave. He is a wide receiver one. Um, Tyler Yuck, we'll see what he does. He might, 1,000 yards, solid guy. He's my flex. Tony Pollard, another flex guy that's solid. Not super crazy about him, but you never know. And then you
Mhm.
got Slicky Ricky. Early season will be getting a lot of targets, hopefully. And I mean, he does really good with Yak. I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, last year he was just behind. Lad McConkey, and I think he was the next best yak guy in the NFL.
I think
So
so.
you could easily see me starting Slicky Ricky over, a Chris Olave if I don't like the matchup or something like that. Trey Harris, that's a little bit more of a risky pick, rookie guy.
Hmm.
He tends to be doing pretty good, but I think this offense is going to be throwing the ball a lot more. Tajay Spears, handcuff, I guess you could say, for Tony Pollard, more like trade acquisition. Kyle Williams, if he ends up being the wide receiver one for Drake May, I got the stack. I mean, I got the stack there.
Yeah.
And then Ray Davis is a great handcuff for James Cook. Debatably going to steal James Cook's job. It depends if he signs a contract or not.
Hmm. Okay, that was all your team right there.
That was my whole team. And then I also went Giants and Cam Little. So
Okay, okay. For this team right here, so you have for your starting quarterback, you have Dak Prescott here, someone who's going to be solid, someone who I said is going to outproduce what the Bengals did last year or similar extent. Then you got Bucky
mhm.
Irving and Travion Henderson right here, your two explosive, actually both under 5'10" running backs who who are
I like
PPR
that running.
monsters.
It's not bad.
And then you have for your three wide receivers right here, you have CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, and you have Devontae Adams. Three proven staples in fantasy football where you know what to expect from them. And then tight end, we just took given value right here. We had Travis Kelce. So had to take him in the late sixth round right here. It's just a money pick where something you can't go wrong with and you know what you're going to get.
I
And
will say with
this,
Travis Kelce, I don't like it because his Vegas betting odds is like 650 yards this
yeah,
season.
no, it's
It's
rough.
insanely low. And if anybody's right, it's Vegas. If you're like toss
That's
up
very
between
true.
this guy and this guy, go
Choose
look at the
Vegas. Yeah.
Vegas betting
Go look
odds.
at Vegas. Yeah. It is very true. Yeah.
They're gonna be right 9 times out of 10. So
Yeah. It's very true. And I was thinking about maybe waiting for a Jake Ferguson to
mhm.
stack with the Dak, but obviously
It
there's
would have
some
been a
things.
Cowboys theme team.
Yeah, it would have been a Cowboys themed team like crazy. And this is where you, in my opinion, I have my staple guys.
Hmm.
This is where you take your swings in order to see if you could win a championship right here. You have Emeka Ibuka, you have Matthew Golden. You know what? Let me keep going. You have more rookies. You have a Bashal Toon. You have a Luther Burden. You have a Cam Ward. You have those guys. I didn't
Get
mean to
on
take that
blue.
many rookies right there, but the two main ones were Matt Golden and Emeka Ibuka. One of those two guys needs a pop. And next thing you know, you're looking at a receiver room where there's potentially four top 20 fantasy football guys all on the same roster. And then you have a Trey Benson who's a handcuff. Jaden Blue, we don't know what he's going to be because he's just a handcuff to Javonte Williams, maybe running back one down the stretch. And you have the GOAT himself, Kaimi Fairbairn, Houston Texans kicker, and the Seattle Seahawks defense right here. So,
I will say your team, I like your wide receiver room more than
mhm.
mine. Besides T. Higgins, I don't like T. Higgins. Um, I don't like Luther Burden either. But
Mhm,
outside of that, I like your receiver room a little bit more than mine. I went JSN, Rasheed Rice, George Pickens, Chris Olave.
mhm.
Um, those are all
Nice.
upside guys, but you have
Yeah.
injury risk with those guys as well. I
Yeah.
feel like your team's a little bit more solid all around. And I feel like my
Mhm.
running back room, personally, I like a little bit
Your running
more.
back room's better. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
like I like Gibby and Chase Brown over Bucky Irving and Travion. I love Henderson.
I
I think
mean, I
Henderson.
mean that's not saying much. That
Yeah,
that's that's
I
not
I
really
think
like a
Henderson's
crazy
gonna end
take.
up being. I think he's gonna end up being better than Bucky Irving. Call me crazy, but I think
Ooh.
Bucky Irving had a really good year last year. I don't know if that entire. You know what? Call me crazy. This is a little bit off of the fantasy football topic. I have the Bucks being one of those 4 teams that'll miss the playoffs this year.
Ooh.
I know
Ooh.
every single year, on average, about 4 teams. It's about 4 teams that make the flip. 4 teams don't make it, and 4 teams do make it that didn't make it the year prior. And I think the Bucks are going to be the team that doesn't
And
make
the
the playoffs this
Commanders.
year.
And the Commanders.
And the Commanders could totally miss the playoffs again too this year,
They beat I don't know the exact quarterbacks that they beat to go on their 12-5 record, but it was atrocious.
dude. And then on top of that, they won. I think it was like 5 or 6 games
Yeah, one
in
score
the last
games.
30 seconds.
Yeah,
In the last 30 seconds of the game, they
yeah.
won like 6 of them. It was insane. But that's a different episode, different topic. This is
Mhm.
fantasy football, baby.
No, I really do like your team right here. I I'm with the belief because you take looking at your roster, you take your swings early. I take my
I
swings
risk
late.
it. I risk it. And I
Mhm,
don't mind the late swings as well.
mhm,
Um I feel like maybe that's a better approach than what I did with taking my swings early. My thing
mhm,
is my guys are either going to be top 5 guys at their position or
mhm.
they're going to be like mid 20s, right?
Okay, okay, I can see
um
that. Yeah.
yeah, so I feel like with what I've got going on, I'm swinging for the fences. I'm going for these guys that are going to win me. Like people are going to look at my team and be like, "Oh my gosh, every single week he's scoring, 200 plus points." But with your
Or
team,
20.
yeah, or 20. So it's either I'm making the championship or I'm not making the playoffs, which I like. I like doing that. It's a lot more fun. Your team you're definitely making playoffs. Are you winning the chip? I don't know.
See, but this is where you have the perfect combination. You have if Travion Henderson pops, if Emeka Buka or Matt Gold,
Mhm.
if all three
Mhm.
pop. See, I'm with the
The
belief
fact
of
that you got those receivers back to
yeah,
back, those rookies are
yeah,
disgusting. Like
and
both of these rookies I would have over Cooper Cup, Calvin Ridley, Jerry Judy.
mhm.
I'd have him over Romo Dunze. Maybe not Jalen Waddle,
Yeah,
not
I don't know
Olave.
about Jalen Waddle. Yeah,
But I
that's
feel
where
like
I draw
they
the line.
both of these rookies should have went
Mhm.
around earlier. They should have went mid sixth round, and you got them mid
Yeah,
seventh and mid eighth. So
and that's what my belief as far as I like I was saying, I really do love rookie wide receivers, and I think they're gonna pop. So that's why
mhm.
I take as many stabs as possible. Where if I just if Emeka Buka or Matt Golden ends up like a BTJ last year, nobody's beating me. Nobody's beating me in
Mhm.
PPR. You have CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, Devontae Adams, and then just say a top 15 fantasy football wide receiver.
I
So
like that.
so yeah, no,
The
but
real question for me is about Travis Hunter. He's one of the more interesting fantasy guys. He's
okay,
also one of those rookie wide receivers. He was a top 3 pick. Like
yeah,
he's a dog, and he's been playing a lot more receiver than corner recently. So it's like, and I think he was the best receiver in the class. If he goes in at receiver, I think he was the best corner in the class as well. So
mhm.
where do you hold Travis Hunter, or are you just kind of staying away because you don't know the situation completely yet?
No, I wouldn't be afraid to take Travis Hunter, but I'm not gonna reach for him. I would have taken
Mhm.
him where I'd taken Matt Golden. Well, I
Okay.
would take. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of cheesed it a little bit because I saw the rankings of Matt Golden and Emeka Buka, so I took Golden first because I knew he would
Okay.
go more likely. But in reality, I take Abuka where I took Travis Kelsey at. In all
I
honesty,
see. I I would rather have Matthew Golden over Travis, but I would rather have Travis over Mbuka. But I feel like they're all very close to each other.
yeah, I think they're all just on a similar level, and I just think Travis Hunter. I just don't. As much as
I
people don't
think
want to talk about it, there's an injury risk to it for him.
mhm.
If he's going to be playing both sides of the ball as much as he wants to, there's going to be a major injury risk right there.
Yeah, and not even just that, like just fantasy wise, looking at BTJ, like T-Law is the quarterback in the NFL that targets his first read more than any other quarterback. And I mean, it's by a wide margin. I seen a graphic on X the other day, and it was by like nobody else hits their first read as
Yeah.
often as T-Law. And that first read is BTJ. It's not going to
Yeah.
be Travis Hunter.
Mhm.
So I think it's more of an effect of I think BTJ is going to get too many of these targets and too many of these focused targets and stuff like that
Mhm.
compared to like a Matthew Golden who
Yeah.
Jaden Reed isn't competing with him. He's got a broken foot. Romeo Dobbs,
Dubs.
I like
He's not.
him. He's not great.
Yeah.
Christian Watson, is he even on the team anymore? Like
Another guy in Dynasty I have.
I know that's what I'm. And so
Oh,
Matthew Golden, I feel like, is more of a surefire hit.
yeah,
Mbuka, there's also some stuff like, oh, maybe targets getting stolen away. So
yeah,
I think after Tet for rookie receivers, next should be Matthew Golden and then Travis Mbuka.
mhm. Yeah. I think Ted, he's a clear cut wide receiver one as far as rookies
Hmm. Hmm.
by far because he has the the situation. Abuka, it would be yes if he gets that number 2 spot.
Hmm.
It'd be yes, but it's a question mark. But no.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Brecken. I think this was a great episode right here. We went
Yeah.
into depth as far as strategy, who's going to be wide receiver number 1, and we showed some of our strategies in the mock draft. And also, you guys let us know who had the better mock draft here. I know we both gave
Curious.
reasonings for each one, but let's just see what the people think about it. But
And
Brecken,
remember, I drafted some players intending to trade them. Don't forget that. Don't forget that.
yeah, make sure you keep that in mind. But all right, Brecken, any last words before we get out of here?
Oh, man. God bless. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Of course. But again, find Brecken on his YouTube channel, Fourth and Feast. It is great peak content, 10 out of 10 in my opinion. So before we get out of here, find us on Twitch, Discord, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube under TSCSA or the so-called sports analyst. Whether you listen to this live or another day, we appreciate it. Make sure you share this to anybody that likes sports. We will see you guys next week. You guys take care.